LGBTQ rights, abortion, racial justice, education, immigration, gun laws. These are all called culture war topics, and everybody has an opinion on them, myself included. But today, I'm not really interested in who's right because, of course it's me. I'm actually interested in something deeper. Why are we so angry about these issues? Why do we keep fighting over the same topics over and over again without a resolution? And who benefits from that division? This is the Silent Republic. I'm not saying these issues aren't important because they are, and this idea that we should all just get along is simply naive. These are absolutely things that we should wrestle with. But here's what I think is actually happening sort of underneath all of it, because these things, these topics, they don't just matter politically, they matter personally. They tie directly into who we think we are. Take LGBTQ rights. That's identity in the most literal sense. Abortion, that's autonomy, morality, life, responsibility. Gun rights, that's fear of control. That's fear of government power. That's fear of what happens when people cannot defend themselves. Education, that shapes how the entire society thinks. Immigration, that shapes who we live next to, who we trust, who we think belongs. These aren't abstract ideas. These are about identity and safety and meaning. And that's why people don't just disagree, they feel threatened. But here's the part that bothers me, because we've been having these arguments for decades, my entire life, and even before it. And somehow we never actually resolve anything, so the question is why? Is it because there's no answer, or is it because there's something else going on? The truth is, because these issues do hit us at our core, they become incredibly easy to manipulate. And not because they're fake, because they're real. And that's what makes them powerful. And we have a media system that knows how to use this and plays to this. Right-wing media fixates on these specific cultural flashpoints: trans bathrooms, drag queens, immigration, amplifying fear and urgency around these issues that feel immediate and very personal. And then center-left media does something different, focusing on outrage and personalities and spectacle, while deeper structural problems remain untouched, without actually doing the difficult work of solidarity and materially changing the conditions for these vulnerable populations' lives. And I think the point, though, is to keep us angry, to keep us pissed at one another, because we know who owns the media. It's the billionaires and the corporations. If they can keep us divided, keep us hating one another, they can sit back and rake it in. So they take real issues that affect real people and dial up the pressure to 10. Then they go off to the island together and fuck kids. Listen, I'm a progressive, I'm a lefty. I think it's a long time that we stop pretending like the 1% that's a problem is queer people and trans people or immigrants or any other minority. The issue is the 1% who own most of the wealth, most of the capital, and making our lives materially worse, because I'm more interested in class warfare than cultural. And I'm not saying that better material conditions for everyone would just make the culture war issues go away. But if you want abortion to happen less, better healthcare and lifting people out of poverty will make the bottom line numbers go down. And if you're afraid of immigrants, a large portion of that fear comes from concerns over job loss and wages being driven down. And I don't even agree with the framing of these issues the way conservatives mean them. All I'm saying is that a concrete way we can make real change happen is by making billionaires and corporations pay their fair share, and by making everyone else's standard of living better. Not because culture doesn't matter, but because material reality shapes how people experience it. And while we're busy fighting one another, these larger systems remain untouched. And so the outcome is exactly what we see: a divided population where one half of the country hates the other half, where a majority of the right has been swindled by a billionaire conman piece of shit and actively votes against their own interests, where supposedly left leaders, I'm looking at you, Jeffries and Schumer, talk the talk but do jack shit to resist rising authoritarianism and actually make people's lives better. Because corporate Dems are bought by the same motherfuckers as the right. And I know this game all too well. Divide and conquer. I live in deep red conservative Texas. Most of the people I interact with are right-wing. Many of my family, coworkers, even friends. An entire voting block of people who actively support leaders who hurt them, who make their lives fundamentally worse. And then on the left, there's just not much on the federal level in the way of leadership. So we're left turning the wheel, hating each other and arguing about the same shit. And the bottom line is this: the billionaire class, the Epstein class, they love division. They've been waging class warfare for decades, and all I'm saying is it's time for us to do the same. This is the Silent Republic.